Now this, guys, I believe that this is the mascot of the 1984 Winter Olympics. Don't actually know his name yet. Hopefully I can find that out. Alright, so guys, the guy in there, thought I was going to be like a typical stingy Scotsman, try and get out without paying. big burly looking guy, muscly guy. Actually, that guy just over my right shoulder, he stopped me as I was going out, saying that I had to pay, which I was going to anyway. But anyway, we're just walking down the steps here, and we're gonna walk over across the river here in a wee bit over to the Baščaršija district, and I'm gonna show you a wee bit of what it looks like up close. Here's a typical example of tower block sort of architecture from the olden days.
But whenever they start talking about it, or whenever something happens, I always have these nightmares. What is it called?
Now you see that sign for War Museum 1992 Sarajevo. Went in past there yesterday and that was fascinating. It's a family run, family established museum that exhibits a lot of artifacts and a lot of items from the siege itself. Old bullet casings, shell casings that were found around the mountains of Sarajevo, expended shells, shells that had been fired on the city in the shell casings. They also have a variety of other different articles and items from the time, personal belongings that have been donated by survivors or families of survivors or families of victims. Incredibly moving, fascinating to see. In the distance there, you'll see the City Hall building. Beautifully decorated, ornate masonry. One of the many buildings that were actually damaged heavily by the fighting. I believe there was a fire broke out after shelling. Let's go off the road here. Restored to its magnificence. I believe that City Hall building is where Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophia visited after the first attempt by Gavrilo Princip and Mlada Bosna, the young Bosnia, the Black Hand gang, him and his accomplices. The first attempt on the convoy of Franz Ferdinand was it failed. One of Princip's accomplices threw a grenade that I believe ricocheted off of one of the cars in the motorcade. It might have even been Franz Ferdinand's car, his own car, bounced off and exploded on the road. And the motorcade continued up along the riverside here and stopped at the City Hall building. where Franz, heir to the throne of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, nephew of Franz Joseph, the emperor, and his wife Sophia, Franz and his wife Sophia, went in to meet officials at the City Hall building, came out and journeyed back along the river. But instead of going back along the same route that they'd taken, where the grenade had bounced off and exploded on the street, they instead took a right. The driver took a right, sharp right, and it was right on that junction just down the river there where, just by chance, the young princip, 18 or 19-year-old, sprung and fired on the Archduke's car, striking the Archduke and his wife, ultimately killing them both. And with those shots, Princip altered the course of history as we all know it today. As a direct result, one of the catalysts, in fact that was considered to be the main catalyst of the First World War, the Great War. Tens of millions of people killed, many lives lost, and the world would never be the same again. Once big and great empires marked the beginning of the end for many of them. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Habsburgs, the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, the German Empire, the Russian Empire. June 1914 that was, and it's June 2024, 110 years on, and here we are in the same city, only a few streets away from where arguably some of the most infamous gunshots in human history were fired. Here we are, guys, in the Baščaršija district. Just walking through here. Ottoman Turkish architecture, prominent. Beautiful minarets rising from the mosques. Let's continue around and see what we see. A lot of shops and kiosks selling all sorts of key rings, magnets, t-shirts, or the usual tourist sort of taps that I have to say, guys, it's a guilty pleasure, but I usually go for that. At least one or two. I'd just also like to say, back home, it's my nephew George's birthday, and I'd like to wish him a happy birthday. He just turned 2. Sorry I can't be with you, George, but I'll see you when I get back. Here, one of the main mosques in the Baščaršija district. And here, guys, it's very busy now. We're walking up towards the old Ottoman fountain. See if we can navigate these people. Very busy. Crowds. Very, very busy. Can't believe how busy it is now compared to earlier on, guys. When I first came out this morning, this area was dead. This area was almost completely empty. And now it's fairly busy. With locals, with kids, with tourists like myself, and the resident pigeons of Sarajevo. A large, just had to duck there. A large collection of pigeons here, enjoying the food, enjoying the sun, and enjoying the ambience and the atmosphere of the city. And here we have one of the trams from the tram system here in Sarajevo. Find this screen there. Let's see if we can. Oh, some fine cakes in there. Must be a typical Scotsman. I'm a typical Scotsman. I like my cakes. Maybe get some of those another time. Let's see if we can cross this road without getting knocked down. Some more magnets and some crafts there, some wooden boxes and decorations, very nice. All handcrafted, no doubt. Some rugs, carpets, hats. And look at this street, guys. This is just beautiful. Lot block cobbled. A steep incline up here. As you've already guessed, Sarajevo being nestled in between the Dinaric Mountains. Parts of it are quite hilly, quite steep, but that's okay. We'll soldier on, we'll manage. As we climb this hill up to the Yellow Fortress, an old fortification that provides quite a good panoramic view of Old Town Sarajevo. I trekked up here my first full day, and views are quite stunning. And now that the sun's come out, clouds are beginning to lift, we should hopefully get a nice view. Now I just noticed over here, guys, what's quite interesting, a sobering reminder of the siege and the conflict. I have buildings like that one ahead of me. You'll maybe just see bullet holes, damage, marks left over from 30 years. Indeed, I've noticed a lot of the buildings in Sarajevo have some kind of markings or some kind of damage, bullet holes, scratches, missing concrete, masonry from the siege. And they are just one of many reminders as you go about, as you navigate the city, of that terrible time in the city's history. And we are just passing a graveyard here. One of a few that I've seen strewn around the landscape on the hills surrounding Sarajevo. And one thing I notice about these stones, the inscriptions on them, the dates of death are all 90s, early to mid 90s, and I believe that this grave site, this memorial site, is for the Bosnian Muslim victims of the war. I have a cat there. I wanted to talk, just wanted to rest. That's fine, won't bother him. I've noticed a few embassies and consulates in this area as well. On the other side, well, further along the river, Sarajevo Old Town, I noticed yesterday along by the Holiday Hotel, that the US Embassy was there. It's quite a big footprint, that building. In fact, that's one of the things I plan on doing while I'm here, is going to see the Srebrenica exhibition memorial gallery. Imagine, you know, the atrocity that was carried out there. Incredibly devastating. That would be quite a harrowing experience, but important. An important reminder of what happened here in this country in the 1990s. Off there in the distance, scraping the sky, emerging on the horizon, is the Avaz Twist Tower. I was there yesterday. You can pay a couple of euros to go on the express elevator to the top, the observation deck. It doesn't cost much at all, and it offers absolutely tremendous panoramic views of Sarajevo. The new part, the old part, and the surrounding peaks. Highly recommended it. Highly recommend. Also at the top there's a bar, cafe. You can get a refreshment if you wish. Much needed in this heat, I'll tell you that. Tell you, this heat, this humidity, although there's a cool breeze as we get further up the hill, it's important to stay hydrated. So luckily I've got my bottle of water and my rucksack here. I'm going to crack that open in a minute, just as we reach the old fortress here. You can see the walls there, and you can already see people at the top there standing, getting views. Some bikes, some biker dudes. Now that's something that'd be cool. Going around the Balkans on a bike. I don't know about them, but when I was back at the bobsleigh track, seeing those couple of guys in the Triumphs, they looked as if they were doing a motorbike tour. And I can only imagine how cool that would be to drive around the Balkans on a bike. So especially the coastal area along Croatia, Montenegro, the Adriatic Sea. Here we go.
Now, Bosnia and Herzegovina, who was the Bosnian President, said, we won't take part in Asian surgery.
정말开启了，哎呀，我这才玩，我这个。
However, the church holds that they before
Est-ce que vous voulez passer par le
off in the distance there. Just see my hotel. And it's absolutely wild to think that I just came from the top of that peak. Although I did cheat taking the cable car, it does look like it's threatening rain, so maybe that was the smarter move. And I thought just because it was thunder and lightning last night, quite heavy rain for a brief period, it was forecasted to rain again today at some point. I believe that the chance of rain was quite high. It's like a 60–70% chance of rain. Didn't want to risk the hour-and-a-half walk back down the mountainside to Sarajevo and get caught in the rain. Although it could have been a nice walk if the sun had stayed out. Might go and do that again before I leave Sarajevo. Still got plenty of time for that. But yeah, check out this view, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I believe that the main roadway, the main highway down past those high-rises off in the distance is known as Sniper Alley or Sniper Highway. And I've heard that it was given that name because during the siege it was a popular nest, snipers, popular place for snipers to take up nests and posts in the high rises, and because there's so many of them, I guess it would be very, very difficult to know where the sniper fire was coming from. Crazy. Right. Okay guys, we're gonna walk back down to the Baščaršija district. It's already 2:30. Wow. Might think about getting something to eat soon. Not had any lunch. Might get a drink as well. Speaking about staying hydrated, that's important. So we'll continue down and see what we see down there. The sun makes a difference. Being a Scotsman, back home, lucky if summer lasts longer than a week. I'm not used to all this sun, as you can probably tell by how red I am. A welcome change in weather and a welcome change in temperature. What's crazy to think, as I walk down this road here, 30 years ago, the Bosnian Serb forces had taken up positions in these hills all around. And if I were walking here 30 years ago, probably would have been visible to them, maybe. I've got nothing but respect, admiration for the people of this city that managed to endure that onslaught, that horror, for as long as they did. Truly are a resilient and determined people. Proud of their multiculturalism, proud of their diversity. In fact, I heard that during the times of Yugoslavia, Sarajevo, Bosnia, had the most ethnically mixed marriages out of all the republics in Yugoslavia, which is a testament and just shows how diverse this country and this city is. We have our wee feline friend, wee cat, Up here is Wake, stray cat. Hello. We'll leave him to bask in the sun. I've noticed quite a few stray cats in Sarajevo. Visited that kiosk yesterday for a bottle of water and a nice refreshing bottle of Coke Zero. Keep me going. The kiosk shopkeeper was very happy that I'd greeted him by saying Zdravo, and which I probably am mispronouncing, but he was good enough to indulge my attempts, and I believe he respected my attempts and he appreciated it, I think. And then after paying for my bottle of water and my bottle of Coke Zero, I said Hvala, Hvala, which I have picked up as meaning thanks. Again, the pronunciation's probably all off, so I apologize in advance to anyone watching as I just poorly attempt the local language here. Smell of nice food's hitting me now. Smell of meat, grilled meat. Nice cafes here. Now, apparently, I've heard or read in one of the visitor guides here that there's actually, interestingly, a Celtic Football Club themed bar somewhere in Sarajevo. Not a fan of Celtic Football Club, however, it'd be interesting to see up close, and I'll have to find out the story as to why there is a Celtic Football Club bar here in Sarajevo. I'm sure someone can explain. Youngsters feeding the pigeons there. Back home it would be seagulls. Massive seagulls. You see, I hail from a city in Scotland where the seagulls are as menacing and as dangerous as lions and tigers. So much so that the local tourist guides to Aberdeen even include, or some of them have in the past even included, a guide to avoiding seagulls, the havoc and the misery that seagulls inflict. But so far I've only seen pigeons, so if pigeons are the only avian species I have to deal with on this trip, then I'm willing to take the risk. Nice ice cream here. Nice sweets, confectionery, sweet stuff. I tell you, the smells and the sights and the sounds are